What if I told you the universe has been trying to talk to you this entire time? No, not with booming voices or burning bushes, but with patterns, with whispers, with a perfectly timed song, a stranger with the exact answer you needed, a number that keeps haunting your vision, 1111, 222, 333, always appearing like a soft knock from a realm just beneath the surface. You've noticed it, haven't you? That eerie precision when something happens that feels too perfect to be random, too personal to be ignored. And yet, you've brushed it off. You've called it coincidence, because that's what the world told you to do. But deep down, you've always felt there was something more. And you're right, this is not chance. This is the hidden language of reality, the universe trying to get your attention. And once you learn to listen, your life will never be the same again. From the moment we're born, we're trained to believe in a specific kind of world, a world of facts, logic, and straight lines. We're taught that everything must make sense, that everything must be measurable, that if you can't see it or prove it, it isn't real. And so, when strange moments appear, when signs line up, when paths cross at just the right moment, when dreams bleed into reality, we ignore them, because logic demands we do. Think back to when you were a child. You noticed things. You could feel energy shift when someone entered a room. You sensed when something was about to happen. You picked up on patterns, as if the world had a rhythm to it. But what happened when you spoke up? They told you it was your imagination. They told you to stop being silly. And slowly, you stopped noticing. You stopped listening. That sensitivity, that powerful intuition, was replaced by rigid rules and structured thought. School told you to memorize, not to feel. Society taught you to analyze, not to trust. And worst of all, you were told that life was random, that nothing had meaning unless someone in a lab coat said it did. But what if that was all a lie? What if that blindness was never an accident, but a design? Because the moment you begin to notice synchronicities, the moment you realize the universe is interactive, something inside you begins to wake up. And that's dangerous to a system that thrives on control. Because once you trust the signs, you no longer need permission. You start following your own path. And that's when the magic begins. Long before science, before the modern world taught us to dismiss our intuition, there were civilizations that believed deeply in the signs. To them, the universe was alive. Everything was symbolic. Everything had meaning. The Egyptians watched the stars and spoke in sacred geometry. The Mayans built calendars around cosmic alignments. Eastern philosophies like Taoism and Buddhism spoke of flow, timing, energy, all things Western minds now call coincidence. Mystics believed that every event was part of a divine choreography, that there are no accidents, only alignment. Even Carl Jung, one of the fathers of modern psychology, dared to step into this mystery. He coined the term synchronicity to describe what he saw over and over again, meaningful coincidences that had no logical explanation. He told the story of a woman describing a dream about a golden scarab, only for an actual scarab beetle to tap against his window at that very moment, a beetle rarely seen in that region. Coincidence? Or something deeper? Modern science, at least the kind that makes headlines, dismisses all of this. They call it randomness, confirmation bias, a fluke, but quantum physics tells a different story. In the double-slit experiment, particles change behavior just by being observed. Let that sink in. Your observation changes reality, which means you are not a bystander in this universe. You are a co-creator. Your focus, your energy, your belief, all ripple through the unseen layers of existence. Now combine that with your subconscious mind, the most powerful pattern recognition engine ever created. Every time you think something deeply, every time you feel a surge of emotion, set an intention, or desire something powerfully, you send out a signal. And the universe responds, sometimes in subtle ways, sometimes in wild, jaw-dropping synchronicities. You think of someone, and they call you. You feel stuck, and a book falls off the shelf, open to the exact answer. You've had those moments. They weren't coincidences. They were messages. The question is, did you listen? There's a system in your brain called the reticular activating system, RAS. It acts like a filter. Out of the millions of bits of information around you, it decides what's important. Buy a new red car? Suddenly, you see red cars everywhere. Why? Because your mind has tuned into that frequency. Synchronicities work the same way. When you believe in them, when you expect them, when you're open to the mystery, your RAS begins to filter in the signs. It's like adjusting a radio dial. The songs were always playing. You just weren't tuned in. So the more you pay attention, the more the signs multiply. And that's when life starts to feel surreal, like everything is aligning for you, like you're being guided. Because you are. Quantum theory tells us everything is energy. You, me, thoughts, objects, emotions. Everything vibrates. And here's the hidden truth. Your thoughts and emotions are constantly broadcasting a frequency. Gratitude vibrates differently than fear. Love has a different frequency than anger. The universe, this great field of consciousness, responds to that. If your dominant state is fear and doubt, you tune into the frequency of chaos, delay, resistance. But if your dominant frequency is curiosity, trust, alignment, you begin to magnetize experiences, people, and signs that support your path. This isn't magic. It's resonance. The law of vibration. You don't get what you want. You get what you are tuned to. And synchronicities, they are the echoes of that resonance. So here you are. You've opened the door. You've begun to notice what others overlook. Now comes the real power. Learning to decode the signs and use them to change your life. Because synchronicities are not passive. They're not just pretty moments to smile at and then scroll past. They are invitations, opportunities, catalysts. The universe is saying, are you ready? Will you trust what you feel? Will you move? Because if you don't, the signs fade. Not because they stop existing, but because you stop aligning. Synchronicities show up in three main forms, repeating numbers. Ever see 1111, 222, 444? Over and over again? These aren't accidents. Numbers carry vibrational meanings. 111, new beginnings, wake-up call. 222, balance, decisions, partnerships. 333, alignment of mind, body, and spirit. 444, protection, divine presence. When you see these, pause, reflect. What were you just thinking? What are you feeling? Symbolic encounters. A butterfly lands on you right as you're thinking about transformation. A friend randomly recommends a book, and inside it is the answer you've been asking for. These aren't chance. These are nudges, perfect timing events. You bump into someone who offers the exact opportunity you needed, at the exact moment you were ready to give up. You wake up with a strong urge to call someone, and they say, I was just thinking of you. These are not lucky breaks. These are your energy aligning with the flow of the universe. Ask yourself, what was I thinking or asking right before this sign appeared? What emotion was I feeling? Is there a decision I'm avoiding that this might relate to? Does this symbol remind me of something from my past? Is this pattern repeating in my life? Write it down. Don't trust your memory. It's fleeting. Start a synchronicity journal. The more you track, the more patterns you'll see. And the more patterns you recognize, the clearer the communication becomes. Noticing the signs is just the beginning. What you do next, that's where everything changes. Because synchronicities are doors, but the universe won't drag you through. You have to walk. And this is where most people stop. They see the sign, they feel the pull, but then they hesitate. They wait for certainty. They ask for 5 more confirmations. And that hesitation kills the energy. The magic fades because synchronicities are alive and they respond to courage. To live a life filled with synchronicity is to live in trust. Not blind faith, but deep inner knowing. The universe doesn't give you signs to tease you. It gives you signs to invite you into the next version of yourself. But it needs something in return. Movement. Trust is movement. Action is alignment. You don't need to know the full plan. You just need to take the next step. Synchronicities rarely spell everything out. They whisper, they nudge, and they reward the ones who listen. Ever wonder why some people seem to live in a state of magic? Where things line up perfectly, where luck follows them? It's not luck. It's not special gifts. It's awareness, alignment, and belief. They believe in the signs. They align their energy with what they desire. And they act when the moment comes. They say yes. They follow the pull. And because of that, the universe opens more doors. Want to experience more synchronicities? Raise your frequency. Meditation, even 10 minutes a day, tunes your awareness to the unseen. It clears noise so you can hear whispers. Gratitude. Gratitude is the most magnetic state you can enter. It opens you to receive. Curiosity. Don't try to force the signs. Stay curious. Ask the universe questions and remain open to how the answers arrive. Stillness. Slow down. The universe moves at the speed of meaning, not urgency. Follow your energy. That strange pull? That unexplained urge? Follow it. When you consistently ignore synchronicities, they stop showing up. Not because they vanish, but because you slip back into unconscious living. The universe whispers first. Then it knocks. Then it roars. But if you train yourself to dismiss the signs, the connection weakens. You go back to autopilot. Back to realism. Back to sleep. So the choice is this. Do you want to live in mystery? In magic? In alignment? Or do you want to go back to coincidence and randomness? Because the path you choose determines what you see. Let me tell you a secret. The people who seem lucky, the ones who find themselves in the right place at the right time, they're not waiting. They're moving. They act on hunches. They take bold leaps. They trust their gut. And every time they do, reality opens up in their favor. It rewards them, not because they're special, but because they're in the dance. They're not fighting the flow. They're surfing it. Imagine waking up tomorrow in a world where every little thing might be a message, where numbers on a clock speak to you, where a lyric in a song gives you clarity, where your reality feels alive, because it is. This is not fantasy. This is how life feels when you live in alignment. And the best part, it's already happening. You just have to pay attention. And then you have to move. So now you know. You've seen the pattern. You've felt the nudge. Now comes the most important moment of all. What will you do with this? Will you go back to brushing it off? Will you second-guess yourself until the signs fade? Or will you trust what you feel? Because the people who change their lives are not the ones with all the answers. They're the ones who answer the call. So the next time a sign shows up, act. The next time a door opens, walk through. The next time you feel the pulse of something more, follow it. Because the universe is not random. It's intelligent. It's speaking to you. And if you're still enough, and curious enough, and bold enough, you just might hear it whisper, you're not lost. You're being guided.